Welcome to Golden Lap. Today we're taking a first look into the game so I could show you what it's all about, and if you're not sure if you should buy it, well, by the end of this video you should be able to determine whether this game is for you or not. Thank you very much to Funselektor for sending over a key a little bit early so I could have a go and get this video to you today, because today is its launch day on the 26th of September, and you may recognize that developer name because they made Absolute Drift in 2015 and Art of Rally back in 2020. Both did fairly well and had a different approach to some of the racing genres, and this is going to be no different. This is into the racing management simulator sort of area of racing games. So instead of just looking at the main menu, let's dive in and I'm going to show you what makes this game a little bit different than other racing management sims. And you may notice there's career and we've got a quick race. So you can dive straight in, but that's not what I'm going to show you today because it's very much a small segment of the career. If you don't want the career aspects and you just want to dive into a race, well, that's what quick race is for. I'm going to dive into career. And we're going to dive in to my current season because we have completed the first ever season and we're on to the second. And basically the start of the season is like you creating a new career anyway, and I kind of want to show you that because it has some more aspects to it. And you may notice we are in the year 1971 because this game is based in 1970s for open wheel. This is the new season start. And you get to pick drivers, you get to pick an engineer, you get to pick a crew chief, and you have a budget. Now, when you start in season 1, you actually have $40 to your name. Because we've done a season, we've sort of gained some money. We've got minus 14 because that's what the car's going to cost, but we'll get to that in a second. For choosing the driver, some are free. Now, these are the 2 drivers that we had last season. In fact, there should be 3 because what happens when a driver's injured is if they're injured in hospital, and some drivers, by the way, can die from crashes, you get to do a replacement, basically. That's why we have 3 here. And when you have an old driver, they will go with their old locked price. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you again. That's going to be 19. So that's minus 33. And you may notice also they have little traits. So things like Quality Master, Personable, Patriotic, all that kind of thing. And each season they do progress, or they can progress their sort of stats. Relatively, it's quite slow, but that's what you would sort of expect. For this, we have got what? We've got an early career, decent driver, for speed, okay focus. Shall we go with you? You're in mid-career. Patriotic, personable. Yeah, 17, we can afford that. So that is 50. Now bear in mind, I also have to pick an engineer. So we could pick the one from last time, which was 6. This guy here. Yeah, let's do that. So that's up to 56, and then we can choose a crew chief. Now bear in mind, these are never ever sort of free. The drivers you can have free, but the crew chief and engineer, you have to pay at least something. So shall we have a slightly better crew chief, risk taker, and tuning master? Yeah, let's go with you. 3, so we're on 59. Okay, so because of the engineer's traits, we've got a 200 bonus on engine performance and a +1 bonus on engine tuning. Now, you can choose to go conservative, okay, and that will affect some of the stats. You can go balanced, or you can go experimental, which is a bit more riskier at the expense, I think, of real reliability. Now we have a sponsor. So where do I think we're going to be? So we've either got race income of 2, a race bonus of 6, 3 or above, season bonus 80 to 100, and then we've got 6 or above, 3 or above, or then 10 or above, as in the positions this is. So I'm thinking we're going to play it safe. I'm going to pick 10 or above. Race income is 4, which is an improvement from last season because we had $2 And this is your main sort of interface that you'll find between races. Let's look at the tracks first of all. You may notice some of these track maps, if you're familiar with them, are quite familiar. And that is for a reason, because they are basically the real life counterparts with changed names and slightly different corners or straights, or something's been altered because of licensing. You can tell that's basically Monza, for example. For the team, you can just view the team. You can't edit the team. You can have a look at their stats, see what their stats are, and obviously all their sort of traits as well. And then these are the standings. So there are driver standings and there are team standings. But it's grayed out at the moment because we haven't actually done anything. It's the first race of the season. And then down here is our garage, and this has the two cars between the two sort of drivers, and you can upgrade them between races if you have the funds, and you can build new sort of chassis, engines, and handling if you so wish to as well. Obviously depending on your funds. At the moment we cannot afford anything, and so obviously upgrading this would upgrade a bit of performance and the reliability at the same time. And you can switch them between the cars if you want to as well. Every few races you'll actually get these sort of sponsor objectives as well. I'm not sure if we're going to get one. It might be in a few races time, but it's things like I've had in the past of doing 3 pit stops in a race and you get a bonus. It's basically do this within this many races and you'll get a bonus cash for it. So let's go into the qualifier. Now this is the pre-qualifier screen. We will have obviously the traits that we already know about, the duration of the qualifying session, so there's no practice sessions in this, and the tyres that are available, and it will tell you the full forecast. So we'll go from rainy to overcast to then rainy again. So we can sort of decide what's going on. I'm going to pause here because I'm going to just explain how everything works. So we can send out our drivers. Down here we have 40 minutes. It's already started before I pressed the pause button. And this is a bit of a timeline of what's going to happen. And as you might be able to see there, this middle bit tells us how much water there's going to be and how much grip there's going to be at what particular point in time, so you can plan ahead for each driver. Now up here is all the sort of statistics. If I press tab or hover over it, I'm going to press tab, that it will give you a bit more information. This will be the same when we're in the race as well. And what's neat is you can click on one of your drivers and you can zoom all the way in. You can then zoom all the way out by just clicking, and you can move around like this. And obviously, if you're familiar with management games, it's going to have a time multiplier, so you can pause, play, and it's got a 1 times, 2 times, 4 times, and 8 times. So let's send out Morstan, and what you'll see is there will be tuning as well, which, first of all, they will need to do at least 1 lap before we can tune this. And I'll explain tuning in a minute once they've done their sort of qualifying lap. I reckon we're going to be okay with intermediates, so we're going to send both of you out in intermediates, and we're going to hit play, and it's going to go. Just like that. And then off they go. So that's 1 times, that is 2 times, that is 4 times, and that is 8 times. And someone's yellow flagged because someone has crashed. Oh dear. Basically, yellow flags, we'll get these in the race. You'll also get red flags in the race. Whether we'll get either of those, we will see. They're relatively long, a couple of minutes long maybe, for a management game. But it gives you opportunity, particularly in a race, to maybe pit during that time. It's basically a full course yellow actually in the race, but this is still qualifying. So let's speed that up. And they are now in the pits, and now we can send them out. Now, what this is over here is your tuning sort of budget. And this is how you tune. So it's very simplistic, but there's a reason why that this mechanic is in relation to the game title called Golden Lap. Basically, if you can get all this, as you can see, let's just go into engine first of all. As you can see, if I hover over this, will tell you how much of that bar it fills. If it gets to the yellow bit, it will be classed as a golden tune, and that will have a boost to the overall performance. So it will go further than the 80% that it could go. If you put it too far to red, it will reduce the performance of the part of the area that you're tuning, basically. More simplistic than you would expect from, say, Motorsport Manager or F1 Manager, but if you have played any of those, you'd be very familiar with a lot of these controls and how a lot of these things work. But also, you may notice it's also top-down, which is also the different aspect of this game, as we know that Funselektor like to do. So this may not be for you if you want something a bit more sophisticated, but if you're a bit more casual, or maybe you want to get into management games, this might be a good idea to do. It's, you know, it's during the 1970s. Again, that's a bit different. It's top-down. No one's really done that before either. That looks like it doesn't go into the red, but I'm not so sure. Shall we do a 2 here? Shall we risk it? Yes, there we go. That is officially a golden tune. So now I can sort of do that. Go on inters. We might be able to sneak in one last lap. I don't think we'll be able to tune again. Let's go with you. Go with you. And you. And you. So this is more of a balanced tune that I've done here versus focusing on one area. And here we are on the race. Again, we've got the traits, we've got the number of laps, which is going to be 61, and all the tyres that are available to us, as well as the forecast. We're just going to be on wets today. There is no reason to go on any slick tyres at all. This is your grid, and then this is your starting strategy. I'll explain all this in a minute because we'll see this in the bottom left in a minute. So it's going to go heavy fairly quickly. Yes. See, I'm looking at that bar that goes up. I'm wondering if we would be better on wets. But let's put that strategy, shall we? Lavera, you're going to go on wets. And you're going to push. Same with you. On you go. Now I recognise that probably going on wets probably would have been the better call, but split the strategy just to sort of show you. Basically, this is your tyre wear that goes down. You might be familiar with this. And again, just like how we had a go at this earlier with the weather forecast, we can only see so far, but we can see just enough ahead just to see what we can do with our strategy. And there's no refueling. You have to last with your fuel all the way through. Driving strategy and engine mode, and each do different things. So although you get more speed with the driving strategy, it's more tire wear and you've got a bigger crash chance, and this has a higher fuel burn. So you've got to watch out for this because you can't refuel. And these are your team orders. You either don't fight or you can fight your teammate. So you can click, I think I mentioned this earlier, didn't I? You can click on and sort of have a look. You can't zoom with the mouse wheel, unfortunately. That's the only zoom. You can either be this far away or you can click and you're this far away. Now, I'm going to calm you down because this is your stress level and we do not want it high constantly. My tactic is to get it maybe up to the red and then just shift it back down again. Now, we are going to swap Mr. Inters, which was a very bad call on my part, I must admit. Just because we are absolutely slipping and we are 40 seconds behind 18th. But because everybody has already used some of their wets, we will be on fresh wet tyres. But I might have just screwed our teammate over. Oh, then again, that is now a yellow flag. Our other teammate is at the top of the leaderboard. Now, mistakes can happen in the pits as well. You know, I have had a pit that might have taken 20 seconds, but there was a mistake made and it ended up being maybe 60 seconds. So there is that as well to consider, although there's nothing much you can do about it. Now we're in 8 times, I do want to sort of mention that if you do have the music enabled, it actually will fade in. It will start to fade in a little bit if you do a ×4, and then it will fade out. And then it will fade in a lot more if you do an 8 times. Another yellow flag. Right, shall we? You're getting low on your tyre wear. So wet it is. And as you might be able to see, we can repair. That's a reliability. And all dependent on how much we push the car as well. So let's pit while there's a yellow. 3rd place right now. And there it is, slow pit stop. And you also may have noticed, it doesn't matter what speed you're going at for the management, it will always slow it down to 1 times when someone enters the pits. Always. And when you hit pit, it will just pause to a .0. Although you can do this in the settings and say run in the background, if you tab out like that, it will pause the game for you. You can turn that on and off in the settings if you want to. And we've had a crash. That is our red flag. And obviously this might be dependent on each motorsport, but with red flag we can change tyres. So we're going to go with some new wets. Which the AI will do as well. Now let's have a look. That has 5 laps of fuel left. 4. We could probably push the fuel a bit. We can probably push, in fact, let's push you as well. So we can influence this a little bit more. Okay, calm down. Let's have a look at our fuel. I don't want to go too much. Yeah, we're all good. And we can calm you down as well. You are doing well. Your 3rd place, fastest lap as well. That is the golden lap. Where you get a bonus point for it. And we can see that this will update based on what this is. So at the moment, we have a full push on fuel. And it's going to say it's going to minus 1.8 for our laps. If we do this now, it's actually going to be 3.5 laps. So basically what this is doing is updating based on how your driver is performing at this moment of time. If you were to continue pushing with fuel till the end of the race, we wouldn't have any left. In fact, we wouldn't even finish the race. And also with this on 1 times, you can sort of see how many seconds go by on 1 times as well. So it's not a 1-to-1 time scale. Another red flag. Another one. I'm not sure I've seen such an action-filled race ever before in my life in any management game. I think this one definitely takes the crown. Oh, who's going to win? It's going to be a tight one. Oh, you're a lap behind, are you? Oh, yes, you are. Did we? I think we won. I think we just got it, didn't we? I think we just got it. And you'll get this. Sometimes they will be out for a race. Sometimes, as I said at the... yep. This is one of them. They've died. 2 deaths. And there we are. We are on podium number 1. Pop the champagne. And this will be all the point standings summary at the end. We've completed our race bonus and our race income, so we get 6. And there it is for the driver standings. 26 points and 2 points down here. And that will obviously develop as the season goes on. These are the sponsor challenges I was telling you about earlier. So we've either got perform 3 pit stops or get the drivers in consecutive positions without giving them any overtake order. I'm not sure we're going to go with that, so because I don't think that's very likely. And back we are here with the garage. So we could go to the garage. We have $8 to our name. So what we could have a look at is, I'm thinking on this car, okay, that's 42, 43, maybe upgrade the chassis, and that will upgrade that reliability. Same down here. Let's do that. And boom, we've made it a little bit better. And that is a first look into Golden Lap. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I've explained this enough so you can get a bit of an overview of what this game's all about, and hopefully you've decided whether this game is going to be for you or not. As I said earlier, I do think this is for more a casual audience rather than the more hardcore management sim fans that are more used to F1 Manager or Motorsport Manager, but I do think this might be a good entry. It's relatively understandable, it's not too complex, and it is a fun little game to do, and it's different because it's top down, it's got a different art style, and it's 1970s open wheel. So if that's the thing you're into, this might be for you, and it's available on Steam. I'll have a link in the description if you want to check it out. It's just called Golden Lap. Just type it in and it will pop up. I would like to know what are your thoughts on Golden Lap from what you've seen from today's video? Good, bad? What would you like to see as an addition? What would you like to see as an update? Let me know. If you've enjoyed this video, found it helpful and informative, and like to see more content like this one, make sure you are subscribed. I will be covering more racing and simulation games on the channel, so if that interests you, stick around and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.